Are you tired of walking into a room and feeling like you haven't been heard and you want to feel seen? Well, I was able to change that where my words hold the power and my boundaries aren't crossed. My name is Rips. Welcome to my channel, and today I'm going to teach you how to respect yourself. One of the biggest lessons that I had to learn is how important your words are. This has been said in so many scenarios that, oh, watch your words or watch your tone. Words are a manifestation. Anything that you say into the universe will happen, and people don't realize this, that even whatever you tell yourself in your inner dialogue when you're talking, then maybe you're not saying it physically out loud, but it's a manifestation. Look at this. Whenever you keep constantly telling yourself, I'm ugly, I'm not worth it, I'm this, your brain will start to believe it, because your brain is literally believing whatever you tell it to. So whenever you going and talking about, oh, I'm this, I can't do this, yes you can. Yeah, you can do this. Why can't you? It makes no sense to me why you should talk negative about yourself. There's going to be so many people who dislike you. Why should you be on that list? You are the one person who knows yourself entirely, inside and out. Find a reason to love yourself. Find that reason to talk nicely to yourself. Because you know how many people are going to try to put you down? And if you believe it, you're going to let them. You're going to let those words from outside affect you, because you're talking so bad about yourself. And even if people can't hear it outside, your insecurities project. The days, let's just say, I didn't feel as pretty, or I wasn't so confident in myself and like the way I looked, I was getting more hidden. I was sitting not straight. I was almost like trying to hide myself. But then whenever days where I felt more confident in myself, I felt like I could do this, I had higher confidence in myself, I was able to do so much more, because the words I told myself, those positive affirmations, I thought they were so silly. I was like, oh, like what is a video of nice words gonna do to me? Even knowing that I have to talk positive to myself, I thought it wasn't gonna work. But every morning I was driving and I was listening. When I would go for a drive, I would be listening to the positive affirmations. I'm like, okay, like, let me give this a try. You're just even hearing those words, it gets you to think, okay, wait, I am really capable. I am. And it changes my mood. Hold on, I can do this. I am doing this because I'm doing things for my best being. You need to realize that what you tell other people, you can't just be throwing words out there like they don't mean anything, because your words are held on to a meaning. They're held on to action. So whenever you're going and telling someone, especially in despite of emotion, let's say you're feeling really emotional and you're having a conversation with someone and you're like, I'm never going to talk to you again. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. And like you just say all these terrible things to them. Are you actually planning on doing those things? Then don't say it, because you're putting an action behind the word. Even if it sounds so small, but it's always these smaller changes that are going to make the big difference. For other people to respect you, you need to respect yourself first, because it all comes from within. And people, and it's so crazy to me, because everything that happens to you internally in your brain, it all gets pushed out. Everything just pushes out, and it will happen. The way you feel about yourself and the way you speak to yourself, it all pushes out. So if you want people to respect you, you have to respect you. You have to love yourself. You have to respect yourself if you want other people to love, respect, and to listen to you even. When I had no boundaries, when I had nothing, people didn't care. I would talk and it was like going in one ear out the other. The minute I set my boundaries for myself, it all came back. I was like, oh, people are respecting. People actually listen when I speak now. It's because I gave it to myself before I was pushing it. When I gave myself my boundaries, when I gave myself my promises, when I make myself a promise, oh, there is no way I'm not going to keep that promise. Learn to keep your promises. That whenever you say something, it's almost like a promise, because you set that expectation that you're going to do this. Let's say I'm talking to you and I promise you that I'm going to bring you a glass of water. You're going to be expecting that glass of water. So when I don't bring it, you're like, okay, she probably forgot. And then the next time I'll make that promise, or even another promise, and I don't deliver. The third time I'm going to make you a promise, are you going to believe me? You're not going to believe me. You're going to be like, oh yeah, she probably is going to forget. She's probably not going to do it because I didn't do it the first 2 times. And it even goes back to your own mental thinking that whenever you make someone a promise and you don't keep it, almost goes into your subconscious thought is, why can't I keep a promise? Am I not capable of keeping promises? And then it all starts to play with your self-esteem and your self-thoughts, the thoughts that you have about yourself. Whenever you're able to keep your promises, your word has higher value. And if you're not going to be able to keep your promise, don't make the promise at all. Learn how to set boundaries. Boundaries, boundaries, boundaries. This is one of the hardest things. And the way I used to be so people pleasing. Like, I'd always want to please other people, make sure everyone else is comfortable, even at the cost of my own expense and my own boundaries. I'd be uncomfortable, but hey, you are. And you know why I realized that's wrong? One, people don't respect you anymore because they're like, oh, she doesn't have her boundaries. I can cross hers. I can be comfortable. And they get extra comfortable. Whenever there is no line, people will create their own line. People will create your boundary for you. And guess what? It's going to benefit them before it will benefit you. Create your boundaries and let people know that that's where your boundary is at. The good thing about setting boundaries is it sets an expectation of what you want, what you expect. And if people are going to meet that, great. And if people are not, then you know and you get an idea of who you shouldn't be hanging out with, who you shouldn't be spending your time nor giving your energy to. Because guess what? Not everyone deserves your energy. Your energy is so sacred that why should the person who's ready to cross your boundaries and not even care for them get your energy? You don't deserve to give someone your 100% when they're not even giving you 10%. That's embarrassing. And the good thing is whenever you set your expectations and people are crossing them, you now know who not to hang out with. If you are able to do your part and tell someone, hey, you're crossing the line, and they still continue, you know, hey, is this person really worth giving my energy to? And you know who to cut off and who not to put in the energy. Learning how to take accountability is really important whenever you want to grow, whether that's respecting yourself or growing in any direction. Because when you learn how to take accountability, you're learning to control what's in your controllable. We often try to control what we can't control, and we then get mad and we don't grow at all. But whenever you learn how to take accountability, become self-aware about what you're doing wrong, what you don't like, what you don't want your name attached to, and you learn how to change that, you're taking accountability. You're accepting that this is a trait that you have that you might not want anymore. And that's completely fine because people change. Because you learn how to take your mistakes, take the things that you want to change and change it up. Because you're becoming aware of it. You're physically putting it on paper. I always recommend writing it down. Just for me, writing is the easiest way. Writing, or literally turn on your camera and talk to yourself. Because whenever you write something down, you're already solving half of the problem. And don't be afraid of making mistakes. Your past is what got you here. Those actions and those mistakes that you don't want to line up with anymore, it's totally okay that you don't want to line up with that anymore. You don't need to be that person. You can change, and even better when you do decide to change, because then you get to be a better version of yourself that no one will ever expect. That's the best thing you can do to yourself and to your soul. Whenever you self-analyze, you find things that you want to change, but you also find traits about yourself that you really like. And that helps you with liking yourself, because all of these things at the end of the day are going to connect. Whenever you find these things that you do like about yourself, you're like, wow, I'm actually not a terrible person at all. You're like, wow, I actually have traits that are good about myself. I have traits that I like and I want to keep. And you learn that you keep those. And that's also going to help you set your boundaries, because you learn what you like and what you don't like and how you're going to have to change. Change takes time, and you are capable of change.